Welcome into Extra Time. Thank you very much for your tweets. A lot about Mourinho and Pochettino. If Mourinho wins the FA Cup, does that make him a bigger success than Poch?
What, this season?
Yeah.
No, not yet. I still, listen, I'm a Poch fan, and I think given his resources, given the fact that Spurs' 3 best finishers in the Premier League all came under Pochettino, and ultimately you're judged on league form. I think winning the FA Cup, fantastic accomplishment, but I'd like to see a little bit more sustained, consistency, and before I make that call.
Shaq's a Poch fan because he was nice to him in Orlando, remember?
Shaq.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, they bonded in Orlando together.
Yeah, I bonded with Jose as well.
Yeah.
I
Shaq,
bond.
aren't you too old to be calling anybody Poch?
Yeah.
Huh?
No,
Honestly. Come
Yeah.
on, man.
What, are you 52 now?
just a number.
What are you, Julien Laurent, calling Neymar Ney?
Nay.
Too old for that, Shaq.
Well, everybody, winning the FA Cup is, think about Wigan Athletic won it in 2012 or whatever it was, 13, and were relegated that season.
Yeah.
Because over the course of a season they couldn't get the job done, but in a knockout competition they could. So I think that would be dispelling 4 or 5 years of good work from Pochettino.
How will Valverde deal with Barca's defence to save his job, Sid? Sid, it was interesting because we were talking, weren't we, about Mourinho and that quote that he gave saying that I would never coach Chelsea because I love Chelsea too much, and he was asked about that today, and he said, well, basically, that was before I got the sack.
We never coached Tottenham because I love Chelsea too much.
Did I get them mixed up?
Yeah. You said Chelsea.
That's
and
all right.
Chelsea.
You're a little under the weather.
You're not well.
Yeah.
That's all right, don't worry. But Pochettino, of course, said he'd never coach Espanyol. Would that ever change?
No, he never coached.
He said he'd never coached Barcelona.
Said he's not well. He's not well, Sid. In fact, I don't think he'll make it through this show.
No. So, sorry, what was the question?
The question is, will Poch ever coach Barcelona, despite the fact he said he never would because when he was with Espanyol?
I think when you say something quite as direct as that, I think it's very difficult to. I think in some ways he would be a very good fit for Barcelona, but no, I don't think so. I also think, bear in mind that he wouldn't ever coach Barcelona, he says, and there is one other really, really, really big team in Spain, and I think that's the one that he hopes will come along first.
Would you ever not play for a club?
Oh no, I'd play for anybody.
But after say if Rangers came in,
They did.
did they? And did you say no?
Yes.
Because you knew what was going to happen?
They didn't come in. When I left Celtic to go back to the Premier League, I got a phone call from a journalist friend about 6 to 12 months later, and he was asking for the manager at Rangers at the time, would I be interested in coming back to go to Rangers? And I said no, but it was not because of the football. It was because the lifestyle would have been compromised because when Mo Johnson did it early or in the late 80s, it was like bomb threats and everything. Now it's gone way past that. It's gone past that. But it would still have been a big hassle.
Sure.
So that would have been the only reason.
Shaka, would you
Play for anybody.
Millwall? Anyone?
Have you met me?
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true.
Just give him an envelope.
Yes. How much?
Hey.
Did you have your phone on during the expansion draft, by the way, this week, just in case, considering your history?
It's usually around this time when I would get a phone call and say, yeah, you're moving. What do you mean I'm moving? I just bought a house. That was fun.
So who goes into the expansion draft? Is that all the young kids as well?
You can protect X amount of players.
You can protect a certain amount of players, and usually it's a combination of you're protecting the younger players, cheaper players, the guys that you don't think or that you would think the other teams would be interested in. And so there were a couple of times in which I was not protected because, quote unquote, I was too expensive. Wow.
What's the draft where you got to go there and you got to take
That's the combine.
the combine? That's the one that Stevie said that Ruud Gullit went and said, well, I've got to take 4 of these. He's like,
That's when everyone was there with their laptops and Stevie and Maras were there with a bit of paper.
It's like when he's short sheets as well. He's like, who's he?
Where will Spurs finish in the table now? Where are they? 14?
14.
Where are they going to finish?
They're going to finish 6th.
Sid?
Do you know how far they are off fifth?
Oh, I don't know. That finger is.
Do you know how far? Do you know how far they are off fifth?
No, I don't.
3 points.
Wow, is that it?
Correct.
You sure?
No.
I'll check.
Well, they were the other day, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's been an international break, so they haven't garnished any more points.
I'm being told you're correct.
Hey!
Ali, where are they finishing?
Of course I'm correct.
They are going to finish in 5th position.
Oh.
Just outside the top 4. Is that okay?
Read the questions.
Oh, all right.
Does Craig understand other Scottish people who have deep accents? Someone like Ali McCoist. He was on TV yesterday and I couldn't understand him at all, but I do understand Craig and Stevie all the time.
Well, Ali was, Ali worked for us in the 2010 World Cup for ESPN. And I do believe there was some issues with understanding. But Ali has basically lived in Glasgow all his life, so he's still got a strong Glaswegian Scottish accent.
Glasgow? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, Glaswegian.
Wow.
But saying that, Craig and Steve, off air, far harder to understand.
Yeah.
Or when they have their married tiffs on air.
Yeah.
They get all Scottish as well.
So you could imagine two of them after a few.
But I feel that people understand you better than Stevie.
Well, just in general, I think.
That's nothing to do with the accent.
That's a very low bar, isn't it? I mean, I don't feel humbled by that at all. Well, I think the thing is with Stevie and I is we both. I left home at 16, him at 19 to go to England.
Right.
And so, when I first went to London, talking in the way I was, absolutely nobody had a clue.
Yeah.
So you got to refine your accent, and over years and years and years it has.
I think Steve, by the way, had his 4th grandchild today.
Not personally.
Not personally.
Although having
Stephen.
seen the size of his belly recently, I wouldn't have been shocked.
Of course, two grandparents, Stevie and Craig. You're still waiting for Shaka and Ali to join us.
Wait a second.
Don't put me in that
second.
mix up there.
Hey, hold on, you're older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're more likely.
Well, I'm just
saying.
Don't be so sure, Ali.
No, I'm just playing the numbers.
I've heard stories. Don't be so sure.
We play golf with a guy, Joe. Ali knows him. And it was last week, I think we were getting the final embers of the golf in this winter. And Stevie did something on the tee and turned to Joe and said something.
Right.
And Joe turned to me and he went,
What about when Stevie and Mario Kempes had that conversation?
one of the best. Do you know this one, Sid?
No, but I want to.
No, it's a very short one. The FDJ boys used to do the show straight off the back of us in this studio. And Mario Kempes walked in to do the show, and Mario's English is not the best, a bit like Stevie's. And Stevie tried to have a conversation with him where he said, "Hey, Mario, did you play in that game for Argentina at Hampden in 1978? And Mario went, Tottenham?
That was it.
Tottenham? I said to Stevie, I said, get your coat.
All right.
Tottenham?
Sid, what did Sid think about Roberto Moreno's departure from the Spanish national team? Could it have been dealt with better?
Well, I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? The Spanish national team has now had 5 managers in 17 months, or 5 managerial spells in 17 months. None of the problems have really been of their making. The question is whether they could have then handled them differently. One of the things that Luis Rubiales, the president of the federation, made very clear the other day, because he refused to talk about it, was that the reason this has happened was because he always left the door open for Luis Enrique to come back. Obviously, on the face of it, that's something for us all to celebrate. You know, it's very good news that Luis Enrique, after everything that's happened to him with the tragic death of his daughter, now feels strong enough and ready enough to come back and work and feels like he has the enthusiasm for the job again. But of course, we all assumed he would come back and Robert Moreno, who had been his assistant, who was one of his best friends, would then step aside and work with him. But somewhere along the line, Luis Enrique has decided that is not the case. He doesn't want Robert Moreno to continue. And of course, the president of the federation is in a position where he thinks, I don't believe it. I'd set this up to make this smoother. Yeah. You know, to mean that when Luis Enrique comes back, it all kind of just falls into place and it's all very nice. And now I can't. And he, in a way, I mean, he could have handled it better, I suppose. But I think he was put in an almost impossible position, really.
Final question, Sid. Any chance you have a book out soon? Need to add a few items to the holiday list for the missus. Oh.
I'll tell you what. We'll do a deal, right? If 100,000 people write in with that same message and all promise to buy it for the winter, I'll write one. What have I got? A month? I don't think I can do a book in a month.
No, Sid, I don't think
not
so.
gonna happen,
Would
is
you
it?
ever consider writing a book? Stevie did, didn't he? Did you do one, Shaka?
No.
No? Why not? People are interested in your life.
And his holidays.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
The lawyers wouldn't clear it.
Craig's would be fun.
I did get
Craig's
asked.
would be a Watson
I got
Orr
asked a few times by the Scottish boys for many a year, but no, there would be too many people get brought down with it. Probably myself included.
More importantly.
Yeah, that's my concern.
So no, not really.
A diary of MLS draft days.
I was also part of the combine as well.
Rude Hullet was there.
I was one of the guys. What? We got to pick him?
What was Stevie's big complaint about getting his book written? Was our colleague Matt Donaldson, who wrote the book, going round there and eating these cookies.
Yeah, he said basically make yourself at home, which he did.
And then Stevie would ring him up at crazy o'clock because he had an idea for the book, but he'd had a few beers, and Donaldson said, "You've already told me that." I've got an... Oh, just remember this story with Kenny Dalglish, and you've told me. Bye. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah.
That is it then.
That's it. I must say, actually,
go on,
as
Sid.
someone who's been involved in these kind of processes before, that's very hands-on from Steve. Quite a lot of players, their mentality is, right, OK, there's a deal signed with a publisher. That involves me maybe meeting the journalist, let's say for argument's sake, I don't know, picking a number off the top of my head, 10 times for 3 hours, and then just let him get on with it. That sounds like Steve actually made some effort.
Yeah, but Sid, you did Luis Suarez, who I can't imagine had 15 buds before he phoned you up.
And some mince.
Right, that is it. We are done. We'll
Also,
be back.
if Steve's got someone working very hard on his book, he can't complain about biscuits. He's got to be giving a bit more than biscuits away.
Hey, it
surely.
wasn't just biscuits.
No.
It wasn't.
It was a full serving, Sid. Multiple times.
Okay, right, I'm going to try again.
Fifth time lucky.
That is it. We are done for
Hey.
the day. We will be back. I don't know what's going on tomorrow.
Oh,
I'm
we'll
coming
be here.
I'm here tomorrow.
All here?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Friday
Hey,
tomorrow.
what are you saying? PSG Lille?
Dortmund.
That one. Yes, that one. That's the one.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.